here we need to talk about message level security here. While exchanging the data from SFTP server to the corresponding our tenant or tenant to the corresponding SFTP, okay, always, okay, we need to think about how to protect the data here, how to provide the security, how to enable the security, message level security. It is also called as a payload level security here, or data level security here indirectly. Whatever data you are getting from the SFTP server, okay, before coming to our tenant, okay, so you should put some encryption here. You should put some, okay, you need to protect here. You need to protect here. How you are going to protect that content, that we need to identify now. So again, okay, so if you want to send to the corresponding receiver system, before sending to the corresponding receiver system, how you are going to protect between our tenant to the corresponding okay, the receiver system here. Okay, so someone may hack, okay, in between that, right? So that's what always we need to think about security part here, right? See, this is the first one here. Okay, let's talk about the corresponding first one. Okay, so this is my SFTP server. This is my SFTP server, right? So this is our tenant here. Okay, this is our CPI tenant here. This is our tenant here. So this is our tenant here. Next. This is our tenant here. So here we are going to use a SFTP adapter here. Here we are going to use a SFTP adapter here. So it is applicable for multiple adapters only, not only for SFTP, it is applicable for multiple adapters here. See here, this is the SFTP adapter here. See here, this is the SFTP like that we can see here. Right, it is sitting in the, this is the one network. It is sitting in the one network. See here, it is sitting in the one network here. Right, okay, so our tenant here, it is sitting in the different network here, correct? This is our network here like this. Okay, so now see here, this is the network 1 and network 2 here. Okay, we are, this is okay, whatever data we are getting from the SFTP server, it is into our CPI, correct? It is an inbound message indirectly. It is an inbound message before. Okay, so reaching to our SFTP CPI here, so we need to think about, okay, security part here. Okay, so whatever data you are getting here, you'll get a sensitive transactions. For example, here it may be HR data, it may be payroll data, it may be payments data or something here. You may get the corresponding the secure, okay, so that sensitive data you'll get it here. So if you get any sensitive data, how you are going to protect before going to the, before sending to the CPI here, right? That we need to identify now. See here, for that we are going to use the corresponding encryption decryption concept here, encryption and decryption here. The same way here also, see here, this is the next one in the receiver in the SFTP server here, right? So this is my CPI here, for example, this is our CPI here. So next, one more, okay, flow here. Okay, now see here, I am going to use the SFTP adapter here. So it is applicable for multiple adapters, and as of now we are talking about SFTP. That's what, okay, we are thinking about this SFTP concept here, right? This is my, okay, so SFTP adapter what we are going to use here, right? Okay, so now here we can see the corresponding, okay, so we are, okay, so sending out data from the tenant here. This is our tenant, this is our CPI tenant here. We are sending out here. While sending out to the corresponding SFTP server, how you are going to protect your data, okay, so this are how you are going to provide the message level security or payload level security or data level security, that we need to discuss here. So that's what, okay, we are talking about message level security here, message level security here, right? Here, okay, so if you want to provide the message level security from CPI to any system, or our C, okay, so from source to CPI or CPI to the corresponding destination system. So we need to think about encryption decryption concept here, and also we need to learn the corresponding palettes. We have a security palettes here, that is encryption, decryption, signing and verify. All these palettes we can see here, that also we need to discuss next, right? If you go to the corresponding our tenant level here, if you go to the corresponding tenant level here, let's go to the tenant here. So let's go to the design. See here, we have the corresponding these security palettes also we can see here. See here, we have a decryptor like this. Okay, so PGP decryptor like this, right? And also we have the corresponding encryptor here, right? So just, okay, I'll put the corresponding PGP encryptor like this, right? We have the corresponding inbuilt palettes here. Okay, we have the corresponding inbuilt palettes here. So if you go to the corresponding palettes here, okay, just, okay, if you go to the PGP palette here, okay, and decryptor here, see here, it will ask you the corresponding, okay, so what we require here, signature is required or optional, okay, see here, signing a signature, whether it is valid or not, right? So next, if it is optional here, okay, then, okay, you can put the corresponding signer using ID like this, from public key pairing like this. It will ask you multiple details here, right? See here, okay, signer using user ID of keys from the public key pairing like this. So now like that, you need to add the corresponding details also here. Okay, so we'll see that what do you mean by signer user ID of keys from public key pairing here, like this. Okay, so just we'll select the corresponding options here. If you go to this next one here, okay, so encryptor here. If you go to the encryptor here, see here, it will ask you the corresponding details also here. Okay, what details it will ask here? Signature required or not? Okay, so next one is the content of encryption algorithms here. Okay, what algorithm it is going to support here? What is the key length here? Okay, next what is the corresponding encryption user ID? What is the encryption user ID, like that we can see here, right? Encryption user ID, how you are going to encrypt here, that also you need to identify here. All the things we need to learn here. So, okay, first of all, we need to learn the corresponding, what do you mean by encryption and decryption, how it works. Okay, so how you are going to protect the data. After that, how you are going to generate this keys concept here, right? How to generate the keys, how you are going to call this here, right? What algorithms it is going to support here. So what do you mean by signature here? Okay, that everything we'll discuss first. After that, we'll enter into this. Okay, so we'll create the corresponding keys also here, and we'll try to implement a one, okay, using these palettes, right? So these palettes we can see here, using these palettes we can, okay, implement one here. Right, okay, let's talk about encryption decryption first. See here, this is my next first one is write down encryption concept here. See here, first one is the encryption here. What do you mean by encryption here? So just write down, it converts ciphertext format into normal text format into, that is readable format into readable text format into. Okay, so just how it will convert here, it will convert into ciphertext format here, ciphertext format here, ciphertext format here. So just then converts the corresponding readable format. Okay, so you'll get a readable file. Okay, that file contains some sensitive data. What it will do here, it will convert into the ciphertext format is nothing but non-readable format. Non-readable format here. Let's enter into the see here. Okay, so here I'm going to do some encryption here. I'm going to do some encryption here, encryption part here. So let's go to the corresponding encryption part here. Let's take any one of the encryption tool here. See here, okay, so suppose for example, I'm going to put some data here. So let's take any one of the data here. So let's take this data here. This is see a readable format here. This is the text file, correct? This is the readable format. You can, okay, so someone hack also this file, they can identify what is happening here, correct? They can identify what records are there, okay, so what is the salary is getting, everything they can identify, correct? So this is my readable file here. This is why readable file here. Let's take the corresponding readable file here. So if they take the corresponding readable file here, if you put here, see here, this is my, okay, text to, okay, we are trying to encrypt here. Okay, see here, this is my readable file here. If I put the corresponding encryption for this file here, see here, what will happen here? See here, it is an encrypted format. If someone hack also, okay, so they cannot identify what it is, correct? So this is converted into the ciphertext format, ciphertext format here. It is non-readable format here. So it means that, see here it is, okay, so this is the readable format. If you do the encryption here, what will happen? It is converting into the ciphertext format as per, okay, cryptography, okay, standards, right? See here, it is converting into the encrypted format here. So it means that, for example, see here, okay, so if someone, okay, so see here, they'll send the corresponding, okay, so before sending to our CPI system, whatever data you are getting from the CPI, before sending to the CPI, here, SFTP server team has to encrypt that file first. They need to do the encryption here. That encrypted file, it will come to our CPI, correct? Here, okay, so once it is reached to our network here, our system here, see here, what you need to do next, that you need to identify now. So it means that in case of inbound messages, inbound to tenant, so first what they need to do here, before sending to our system, they need to encrypt their end. How they are going to encrypt, that we'll see next. See here, what they need to do here, they need to encrypt their end, first thing. Because it is a sensitive data here, so before sending to our network, before sending to our tenant, so what they need to do here, they need to encrypt so that it is encrypted here, right? So once reach to our network, we are going to the corresponding, how you are going to use that we'll see next, right? So next one, see here. So this is the receiver side here. If you want to send out that message to the CPI here, okay, it is an outbound message from CPI here. See here, before sending to the SFTP server, you need to encrypt in the CPI level. Correct? You need to encrypt here. See here, but in case of inbound message, SFTP team has to encrypt their message, their payload, their content. Okay, so once they encrypted here, it will come to the corresponding encrypted message to our CPI here. Whereas in case of outbound message from the CPI to SFTP server here, always, okay, we need to encrypt our end. Are you guys are getting this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right, this is the first thing you need to learn here. Okay, so now see here first, okay, we are doing encryption here. Okay, now what will happen here? Okay, the encrypted content. Okay, so sometimes what you need to do here again, okay, so this, okay, CPI cannot understand this one, right? Okay, again you need to decrypt here. How you are going to decrypt here? This is my encrypted text here. This is the non-readable format. This is the ciphertext format here. Now click on decrypt here. Now click on decrypt here. See here, it is decrypted here. See, it is okay, actual content here. This is the actual content here. Clear? So it means that decryption is nothing but it converts ciphertext format into normal text format, nothing but readable format. It converts non-readable format into readable format like that we can see here. So there are two things here. One is the encryption, decryption here. Sometimes you need to do the encryption. Sometimes you need to do the decryption also here. Right? What do you mean by encryption here? Encryption indicates, okay, it converts readable format into the ciphertext format or non-readable format here. Right? So this is my readable file. What it is doing here, it is converting into the, okay, non-readable format. If someone acts also this content here, so they cannot do anything here because it is already locked here. Okay, it is already locked here. It is converted into the ciphertext format here. So sometimes, okay, so what will happen here? You will get an encrypted file. Encrypted file you need to decrypt here. How you are going to decrypt here? See here, okay, so this is the decrypt. You need to do the decrypt here. Decrypt is nothing but non-readable format, that is a ciphertext format into the readable format. See, let's take a same example here. See here, first what they need to do here? They need to encrypt here, correct? See here, first they need to encrypt here. They need to encrypt it here. Encrypt here. Okay, once they do the encryption part here, that encrypted file, it will come to the where? The same file, it will come to the corresponding CPI here. What do you need to do here? Once it reaches to our network, what do you need to do here? You need to decrypt here. You need to decrypt here. Okay, you need to decrypt here. Then only we can do the corresponding validations, filtrations, everything here. So now next here, what do you do here? Okay, in case of, okay, outbound message from the CPI here. So first, as a CPI consultant, before sending to the SFTP server, you need to encrypt here. So next one is what they will do here. They will decrypt their end. How they are going to encrypt and decrypt here, that we need to think here. Are you guys clear this one?
Yeah.
So this is a one network to another network, and here one network to another network we are talking here. Okay, let's put here. See here, this is the firewall between, okay, so one system to another system here. So this is these are all firewalls here. These are all called as a firewalls here, right? See here, there are two cases here. Sometimes you are going to use sender side SFTP adapter, depends on our requirement. Sometimes you are going to use receiver side SFTP adapter, depends on our requirement here. See here, So if you are going to the sender side SFTP adapter, always, okay, SFTP server to our CPI here. So now here, okay, with the flow is, this is inbound to CPI, inbound to our tenant, inbound to our tenant here. So if you want to implement, if you want to provide the message level security here, so for inbound messages, what you need to do here, first before sending to the our system, they need to encrypt their end. So that encrypted content, it will come to the corresponding our CPI. Here we are going to the decrypt here. Okay, the same way in case of outbound message, when we'll tell you it is outbound message here, if you are going to the receiver side SFTP adapter, so then, okay, so it is called as a outbound here. See, because we are sending out, okay, data, that, okay, data from our CPI to SFTP server here, that is called as a outbound message, like that we'll consider here. So in this case, okay, so before sending to the SFTP server, what do you need to do here? You need to encrypt our end first. You need to encrypt our end here. So once you encrypt here, that encrypted content will go to the corresponding SFTP server. They can decrypt here. How they are going to, how we are going to encrypt and decrypt the content, that we need to identify now. So this encryption, decryption, everything, it will happen using keys only. We have a keys concept. We have a keys here. There is a keys concept here, key pair. Indirectly, it is called as a pairing concept here. Okay, we have a keys concept here, right? So how we are going to the encryption and decryption here? Using the corresponding keys. How they are going to the encryption and decryption here? Using keys here. Let's put the corresponding keys here. So how they'll do that encryption and decryption here? Using, by using keys here. Using keys concept here. So we need to think about keys here now, using keys. So what keys here? Okay, so we have a two keys here. So one is the, here we have a two types of keys here. One is the public key. The second one is the private key here. The second one is the private key also here. So the first one is the public key. The second one is the private keys here. Right. So one is the public key as well as private keys here. So what do you mean by public key here? How it works? See here, public key is it for only encryption purpose here. Just you need to remember here. Public key is it for only encryption purpose here. So next one is, whereas the private key is it for only decryption purpose here. We have a two types of keys here. One is the public key as well as private key, both we can see here. See here, this public key is it for only encryption purpose, whereas private key is it for only decryption purpose here. See here, this is it for only encryption here. So this is it for only encryption here. So next one is, whereas private key is it for decryption purpose here. Private key is it for decryption purpose here. So this is called as a public key and private key combination. It is called as a key pair, and this is a pair. Key pair. This is called as a key pair here. Clear, guys? So this is for encryption and decryption here. So how we are going to generate these keys, that we need to identify now, right? See here, we have a, okay, so PGP concept here. We have a PGP, pretty good privacy here. Okay, it is also called as a PGP key pairing, like that we'll put it here, key pairing here, right? So KGP key pairing like this here. Okay, this is the tool what we are going to use here to generate the keys here. Pretty good privacy here. Okay, so from here we can generate the corresponding key pair here. right? It is also called as a key pairing here. Okay, how to use the corresponding PGP tool, that we'll see next, right? So now we know that, okay, so we required keys here like this. Okay, we required the corresponding public as well as private keys here. Sometimes you need to use a public key, sometimes you need to use a private key here, right? Or so, okay, so if you want to do the private key here, okay, so always, okay, we require the corresponding both keys also we required here, because it is a key pairing, right? So if the public is matching, then the corresponding it will decrypt, correct? Suppose for example, if you get a encrypted content here using public key here, the corresponding private key only, okay, it will decrypt, not any other key, correct? Are you guys are getting this one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, that's what always you need to think about the corresponding these keys here. What key we need to provide like this. Okay, so if you are going to sender side SFTP adapter, or in case of inbound messages to the tenant, okay, what key, okay, so what key we need to use in our CPI level, what key they need to use SFTP server level, who will provide these keys here, whose key you need to use to encrypt and decrypt here. The same way in case of, okay, outbound messages also we need to think next. So this key pairing concept is very, very important. Okay, in case of CPA as well as PO also, right? Okay, so you need to think about security here. You need to think about security, how you are going to protect your data while exchanging from one network to another network, or one system to another system here. How you are going to provide the message level security that we are discussing here. Right, so how you are going to, what keys, okay, so you required here. See, for example here, let's go to this example here. What is that here? Okay, let's go to this example here. First one. See here, okay, so we are getting the data. So before sending to our system, our tenant, they need to encrypt here. How they are going to encrypt here? Encrypt means, okay, so what they require here? Encryption means what they require here? Which key required?
Public key.
Public key. Public key here, correct? Whose public key, that we need to think here, correct? Next. Okay, so as of now, we know that public key required. So next one is here. Again, we require the corresponding decryption means what key we required here?
Private one.
Private key or secret key indirectly,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Private key we required here. So whose private key, that we'll see here, whether it is CPI private, our tenant private key, or okay, that we'll see next. Again, see here, okay, in case of outbound message, right? So what key we required here to encrypt here? Public key. Here, what key we required here? Private key, correct? Sorry. See here, this is the private key required here, correct? Okay. Now, in case of inbound messages here, okay, so we know that public and private keys required here. Okay, to encrypt SFTP server level, they required public key. Okay, whereas to decrypt our tenant level, we require private key. Whereas in case of outbound message level, so if you want before sending to our okay SFTP server, if we need to do the encryption here, how okay we are going to the encryption here using public key. Okay, again, so decryption means they are going to use a private key. Right, first we'll talk about, okay, in case of inbound messages. Okay, so here we are talking about public as well as private key. See here, okay, so using this public key, they're encrypting here. Whose public key? This one. Whose public key? Again, see here, okay, again we are decrypting here. Okay, so we record private key here. Whose private key? Whether it is a CPI private key or SFTP public private key, that we need to think, correct? We need to identify this one here. Are you guys are getting this one? This is a bit tricky, Andy. Okay, so you need to understand this. Again, the same way in case of outbound message here. So first we are doing a encryption here. Okay, so we are using a public key. Whose public key? This one. Whether it is a CPA related public key or SFTP server public key. That we need to identify here. So it means that, see here, if you go for the inbound message here, see here, they are using a public key here. Whose public key this one? Can you guess this? Always, okay, public only we can share it, and we cannot share any secret keys to anyone. Correct? Can you guess here, okay, whose public key, whose private key here? Anyone? Okay, so leave it this one here. Okay, let's take one example here, then small example. Small example here, so that you'll get idea at least. So I'll take one diagrams here. Anyway, we have a, let's take this diagram. Okay, fine. Let's see here. Okay, so first one is the, so this is our tenant here. See here, this is our network. Up to here. This is our network. This is our network here. See here, this is our tenant here. CPI tenant. CPI tenant here. Right? This is our recipient is nothing but CPI tenant here. So next one, this is my sender here. This is the one network here. Right? This is the SFTP server here. This is our SFTP server. Right? So here in the CPI level, we are selecting SFTP adapter here, correct? This is the SFTP adapter like this. SFTP adapter. Now this is the network 1 and network 2 like that we'll consider here. So this is the network 1. Right? Okay, this is my network 2 like this. See here, this is the first case what we are talking here, correct? So this is the first case what we are talking. Sender is the SFTP, receiver is the CPI here, correct? Now, if you observe here, right? See here, first we are doing this is the we'll get a from SFTP, we'll get a plain text here, correct? This is the plain text. See here, we are doing a encryption here. You are doing a encryption here. Okay, before sending to our network, what they are doing here? They are doing encryption here. They are doing a encryption here. So now how they are doing encryption here? Using which key? See here, public.
Public key.
Who's public key? This one.
Recipient public key. I
Who is the
think
recipient here?
CPI.
SFTP.
Whose public key it is? Whose public key it is?
CPI, sir.
Recipient. Recipient means who here? CPI. Correct?
Yes.
So it means that, see here, before, okay, so before sending to our system, what they need to do here, they need to encrypt. How they are going to encrypt here? Using our own public key. Using our public key here. Our is nothing but our recipient, our CPI public key. So it means that you need to generate two keys. One key you need to provide to the SFTP team. Correct? Using our public key, they can encrypt. They encrypted. Once they encrypted here, it is locked here. It is ciphertext format. Correct? Guys, getting this one?
Yes, yes.
It is okay converting in the ciphertext format here. So once it is okay converted in the ciphertext format, so that is okay. So it will come to our network here. So once it reaches our network, what you need to do here? You need to decrypt here. How you are going to decrypt here? Using
Security key. Private key. Security
private
key.
key. Whose private key it is?
CPI.
Recipient private key, our CPI. It means that, so whenever they, okay, so encrypted here, okay, the encrypted content, it will come to our CPI. CPI level, it will check. Okay, while decrypting, it will cross check whether this public key, whether it is matching or not, backend. If both are matching, okay, so they say key pair, right? If both are matching, it will decrypt. Otherwise, it won't decrypt. If they use a different public key to encrypt that content, if it will come to the CPI level, so if you are trying to decrypt using our own private key, it won't work. Always it should keep pairing here, correct? It should match. While doing a decrypting, it will cross check whether this public key, whether okay, so whatever okay, public key we provided here, that key is okay, using that key whether they encrypted or not. If both are matching, it will decrypt. Otherwise, it won't decrypt because it is a pair. Are you guys are clear this one? So it means that in case of inbound messages, here, what you need to do as a CPI consultant here, you need to generate two keys here. One is the public key as well as private key. That is a key pair, right? So you need to, okay, one key you need to provide to the SFTP team. Which key you need to provide here? Public key. Okay, using our public key, they can encrypt. Correct?
So always two keys are support for the CPU only, right?
Not only CPI, even if you go to the PU also always, okay, we key pair we required. Public as well as private key combination always.
Okay.
CPI will provide both the keys, public and private keys. Sir.
CPI level will generate two keys here. Our network level will generate two keys.
Okay.
Right? But what key you need to provide to the source team?
For the source team, public key.
Only always you need to share a public keys. Don't share any secret keys.
Okay, okay.
Secret key is nothing but locker keys, correct?
Yes.
We cannot share okay, secret keys to the anyone.
Okay.
Right?
Only public key we will share.
Yeah, only public key here will share it. So
Okay.
it means that if you are going to use sender side SFTP adapter, or in case of it is an inbound message from SFTP to our tenant here, right? Okay, so always we are going to generate two keys from our network. Okay, so one key will provide to the corresponding SFTP team, source team. Using that key, they can encrypt. that encrypted content will come to our CPI. So here we are going to the decrypt using our own private key or secret key here.
Okay, sir.
So this is important, and because if you go to the interviews, people may ask this question here. Have you used any security aspects in the, okay, so SFTP adapter or any other adapters like this? Assume that you are going to sender side SFTP adapter here. Okay, who is going to generate keys? What key you provide to the corresponding SFTP team, or from SFTP, what key you receive, like that they may ask you. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's what you need to throw with this one here. So in case of if you are going to sender side SFTP adapter, so always as a CPI consultant, okay, we need to generate 2 keys from our network. Okay, how you are going to generate this keys? Either you are going to work with the basis team or the security team, doesn't matter. Okay, so you are the right person to decide what key we require. Correct? What keys okay we required here? Which key you need to provide to the source team? Which key you are going to use in our CPI level to decrypt? You work with your team internally. Okay, so whether you are going to work with your basis team or network team or your security team to generate the corresponding keys, you can use any third-party tools also, that's fine, right? But so finally, so end of the day, what you need to do here, you need to generate 2 keys. The one key you need to provide to the SFTP team, one key you need to use in your, okay, system level to decrypt.
Okay, sir.
This is about inbound messages here. Normally, all the things will take care by the security or basis team and in the real time. But okay, as a CPI consultant, you should know this, right? Because interest level, definitely the people will ask you all the things, right? So now, okay, so next one in the similar way, we need to talk about the corresponding outbound messages here. In case of outbound messages, CPI to the corresponding SFTP server. So once we learn that, then okay, we'll talk about how to generate the keys part. How to generate the keys, how you are going to use that keys into our CPI using the palettes. We have a security palettes, right? So we have a encryptor, decryptor, the corresponding palettes we can see, right? Using the palettes, how you are going to encrypt and decrypt. We'll take one small example and we'll try to test it. So, but you need to remember these things now. Okay, thank you guys.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, can you share the 18th session, please?
Sure.
Yeah, today's one also. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
15th session also, sir. 15th session and 18th.
15th and 18th.
15th and the 18th and today's 3.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.